There you go.
All right, welcome. As you know, how we start the show, Frank has to start it on YouTube through live stream, and then he's got to go way back into the what would you call it, eastern wing of his palace, and start the show on Facebook. Oh yeah, he lives in a trailer. I forgot to tell you. So he's coming. We're going to wait till YouTube gets started. I mean, Facebook gets started. Oh Jesus, don't like to do that, do we? So, guys, I can't tell you how long it's been waiting to have this special guest on. I finally got her on. And I guess we're going to start the show because Frank will show back up. So, tonight, welcome. Coming to you live from Texas, the one and only Gypsy Jewels. So awesome. I figured I'd bring her in with a little Stevie Nicks, nice smooth entrance. So, now when Frank comes in, he's probably going to dance to this. He was getting really weird before the show when I played this. I don't know. Singing into his hairbrush. He thinks he's really Stevie Nicks. Highly anticipated show tonight. Thanks you, Gypsy, for joining us tonight. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I know it's been a long time. We've talked about this for about 4 years, and it's always conflicted with, the podcast timing that I do on Monday nights, unfortunately. But, we've got to have it on one night, right? And
exactly.
Monday night's a great night. So
now, on Monday night, you do a show called Treasure Vortex with your co-host Amanda Digger DeGaz. We understand she's under the weather a little bit, so we wish her well. We really wish her, a speedy recovery.
Well, I appreciate it. I know she needs that right now. She just undergone a surgery, and at first they didn't have her pain medicine ready, and so she was feeling the pain. Poor girl. But I think she'll have a speedy recovery, and we'll be back in the saddle.
It reminds me. You gotta realize Steve doesn't understand us TV people. We have a really, really hard schedule.
It reminds me of the time. It reminds me of the time Frank had that surgery and he bounced back so fast. What was that called, Frank? A lobotomy? What did you have done?
I was better off for it.
So I just want to tell a quick story because we're going to interview Gypsy pretty in depth here with some questions I got. But the one thing I was very impressed when I met Gypsy at the Central Florida. Is that Central Florida Metal Detector?
Yeah, Florida.
So here she is, and I walked up and said hi, and she did not, like most people, she did not immediately run and get a restraining order against me. Actually, about 5 minutes? And I appreciate you for lifting it for tonight's show. And then I understand I can't contact you after this. It goes back on. But it was so nice to meet you that night. I think you are the nicest person in the world. And that was really, I was very, very impressed. And I do follow you. I watch your shows, everything you do. As we were talking earlier, I remember when you did the Uncharted Expedition with Tim Draper. That was a great episode.
Oh, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I traveled to was it Utah for that episode, and right. I got to see a lot of really cool petroglyphs, and that was really neat. And it's so amazing seeing something so ancient that some of it can't really be dated. I mean, there's a lot of conflicting archaeologists with their the way they date things, I'll put it that way. A lot much older than, some of the stuff that we find, when we look for relics and artifacts, stuff like that. But fascinating and most beautiful area, man.
That's the thing, to see them, some of them so bright and for being as old as they are.
And the scenery, though, the mountains just looked incredible.
It really is picturesque. And it's a totally different environment, from here in Texas. I live in East Texas, so you've got these beautiful pine trees. You drive out here in the country and there's moo cows and all that kind of stuff. But out there, it was kind of deserty with not much, vegetation, just beautiful. And the petroglyphs and some of the stuff that we found out there, it was a blast. I really had a great time.
Now, we know you're a representative of Garrett, and you're the Garrett Queen. You gotta be like the Garrett Queen, the Garrett girl. I don't know, the Queen of Garrett. I'll call you the Queen of Garrett. You're on there.
I thought that was Tim's title.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to come up a couple of times. All right. Besides Tim, you're the Garrett Queen. You're a very good spokesperson for Garrett, and they also, I mean, you get a lot of travel and go a lot of different places, so it must be really exciting for you to go here, go there, and bounce around like that.
It really is. I never thought, when I started my YouTube channel, which I guess it's been around 8 years now. I'd have to double check on that. But I've been metal detecting now for 25 years. And I guess, treasure hunting all my life, with different, types of treasure hunting. When we're little, for me, when I was little, my dad would take me out and we would go dumpster diving in the alleys, and I would go dump digging with my father, and we would find old cork bottles and marbles, and I just thought that was the greatest treasure of all. And just the time that I got to spend, with my father and my brother out metal detecting, treasure hunting. And then I remember my granddad and then my great uncle. My great uncle would get up like at 6 a.m. in the little town he lived in West Texas. He would go, he would get up at the crack of dawn and go walk the town. He would walk over to parking lots and find money and jewelry, laying in the parking lots, and the car wash, and pick up change, and the school, and find just surface finds. And that's another form of treasure hunting. So I think at an early age I kind of got that fever. And
see, where I live, we call them vagrants. Where I live, they pick up change and stand out at the store and ask for money. No, I'm just kidding.
You'd be amazed what you pick up out of a parking lot, man.
Yeah, you'd be amazed. So can I ask, now, when you were young, were you kind of a tomboy, rough and tough, or what do we got here?
Yeah, I guess I grew up with a brother, so growing up with him, he always had toy cars, and I had my dolls, and I would make him play house with me, and play with the dolls. But then I would go over there and play with him and play with cars, and I love to play in the dirt. I just at an early age. My mom remembers as soon as I could go, I would grab a spoon and dig in the dirt. So,
nothing wrong with that.
No different than what we're doing now, right?
Right. So I didn't mind getting dirty, and I guess it just stuck. I don't know.
So let me ask, how long ago? Because I'm not going to say how old were you when.
Well, she started detecting 25 years ago. She was what, 2, 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
how long have you been detecting? And I guess we kind of already know why you're into, but what really got you into picking up a metal detector?
Okay, so I've been metal detecting 25 years now. So myself and my ex-husband, I just had a baby, my first child, and for the first time, I got to leave him with my mother-in-law, and we were visiting Galveston, Texas, which is on the beach, here in South Texas. And we were about to walk into a t-shirt souvenir shop, and up from the beach came a couple with a metal detector. And this man and woman, I just saw their metal detector and I just said, "Hey, did you happen to find anything?" And they proceeded to, pull out some of their finds, and they had coins, and they had, I think it was even a ring and a pendant. I remember a pendant. And I remember just like my eyes got big and I was like, oh. And so I looked at him and I said, "You know what? Next time we come to the beach, I'm gonna buy me a metal detector." So I didn't know a thing about metal detecting. So needless to say, I think about 2 weeks after that, I went to a Radio Shack because I didn't know the first
Sure.
thing of where to start. But I remembered seeing when my dad was a big in electronics, and so I used to go into Radio Shack quite a bit, and with him, and he would buy these stuff to fix, TVs and electronics and stuff. And I remember seeing some metal detectors laying, hanging up on the wall. And so my thought was, I'm going to go get me a metal detector at Radio Shack. So that's what I did. I bought a metal detector. I think it had two dials on it, and it had a meter. And I think I spent $129, if I remember correctly, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And that was 25 years ago.
You
Now,
want
Frank,
the good one. Yeah.
yeah, Frank, wasn't your first stint in prison when you went and robbed a Radio Shack?
Radio Shack was one of my favorite stores.
Yeah. See, Frank got in a little trouble when he was younger, but he's over that now.
Yeah.
So you get into metal detecting, and what got you hooked? There's one thing about getting into metal detecting, and there's another thing about getting hooked into it.
Well, I think I was hooked from the very first coin I found, which I remember going back to the beach. And I remember metal detecting on the beach in Galveston. And I think I found a few coins, some pull tabs. I found a key the first time out. And just of what could I find next
That's the
intrigued
thing.
me
Exactly.
enough, you know. And then I remember I went back to East Texas where I was living at the time, and I was bored. I was really bored one day, and I had my Radio Shack machine, and I remember walking out. We had this circle driveway. It was a gravel driveway, and it was 15 acres of land, and I just was bored and I just wanted to play with my detector. So I got out there, and all of a sudden it started beeping in the driveway, and I looked down and I saw something sticking out of the ground, and I popped it out, and it was a silver ring with a turquoise stone in it. And from there on I was like, okay, I want to know more about metal detecting.
That was the same thing with me, Gypsy. The first thing that hooked me was a cousin who had a metal detector and pulled a pull tab, and
Oh,
literally threw the metal detector. And the only thing I could think of was like, well, if it can find the pull tab, what else can
what else could it
you be
find?
thinking?
That's been Frank's dilemma ever since, because all he
I've gotten
finds
really,
is
really good at that pull tab whole thing.
Yeah, the pull tab. Yeah, nothing but pull tabs since then.
Oh man, I find plenty of pull tabs. You got to take out the trash to find a
Oh
treasure.
my
There you
God!
go.
Don't remind me. Oh, don't remind what type? All right, so let's say tomorrow you could do any type of metal detecting. Do you prefer the dirt or the beach? Where do you want to be?
I'd rather be in the dirt at an old historical place. The relics is what really gets me. You know, I love going to the beach. I do miss the beach because when we ended up moving to Galveston, probably I was a big influence there because I wanted to go metal detect on the beach. And so we ended up moving to Galveston. Every time I could get a chance, I was out on the beach just, and I would find rings and coins and tons of pull tabs, tons of trash. But finding the rings was always a blast. But then not long after that, I actually opened up my own metal detecting business, and I started the Galveston Island Treasure Club there. And once I got that going, I really started getting into the relic hunting.
I know I told you how we might catch something in the chat that I got to bring up, and we've got a comment by a person. I'll tell you, the comment first is That's my favorite metal detecting girl right there. Do you think
Aw.
you know who might have said that? We were talking about him. I told you his name was
Tim?
going to
Winnie?
Terry.
Terry
Terry.
Carter?
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Terry.
So we were his name came up in the pre-show, and we all kind of laughed. So he is watching. So Terry, thanks for being here.
We can't wait to have him tell some more stories.
He was a great guest, and we're looking forward to having him back on.
You know, Terry is the biggest sweetheart, and I met Terry at in Colorado. He actually owned a metal detecting store many years ago, so you might want to ask him that question if he didn't answer that last time when you have him on again. And Terry, I met him in Colorado at a metal detecting hunt. I think it was something Ron. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, nevertheless, it was in Colorado, and we hit it off from the start, and boom, we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, and when that's the case, especially in this hobby, if you're friends with someone for a long period of time, it usually means they're, I'm going to say decent. I just use the word deep, but they're usually pretty good people. Like me and Frank have been friends for like 10 years now. And let me tell you something, I've been through the mill in this hobby of friends that turn into non-friends in about a week. So
Oh, that's sad.
well,
Let me ask y'all a question. How did y'all meet?
At a detecting event.
Yeah, in Atlantic City. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in the men's room and he wouldn't leave me alone. He wouldn't leave me alone. I mean, like, Frank,
you're just so cuddly and lovable. What can I say?
Love it.
The name Gypsy Jewels. How did that come about?
Well, I get that a lot. So when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't want everybody knowing my personal business, my name, and all that.
Right.
So I had a nickname at the time. I actually owned a resale business, and it was called Eclectic Gypsies. So I was one of the gypsies. And resale, again, is a form of treasure hunting because I would go to garage sales and estate sales and auctions and all kinds of stuff to resell. So I was one of the gypsies there, and then I also I love jewelry. I love jewelry, and I do love finding the jewelry. So jewels just kind of stuck as a kind of extra name to add on to the gypsies. So there was bird Gypsy Jewels right there.
Beautiful.
Awesome. So what was that? Things were on my mind, and I kind of skipped it. So now
that's a treasure right there. You had things on your mind.
You get into detecting. How did becoming a Garrett girl come about? Because Frank's been applying over and over and over.
I don't have the legs for it.
Frank, he just won't take no for an answer.
Oh gosh.
Well, let's put this way: you're a Garrett girl. We know that, and we don't have to mention all the names of all the detectors you've been through. But you've been through other brands, or have you been Garrett girl since you started detecting?
So for me, I started, again, you heard my story. I started with a Radio Shack. And then from there, back then, we didn't have the internet. I think internet was just being birthed, And so about the only thing I could find on the internet then was TreasureNet. And then was at the bookstore, I could find Eastern and Western Treasure magazine and I think a gold prospecting magazine. And so I was just eating it up, Every time I got a chance, I would go to the bookstore or I would subscribe to their magazine. I would, buy magazines, and then the main books that I could find, I actually, long story short, my parents lived in East Texas where I live now, and they knew a guy here that Keith Wills, He is a legend kind of in this area. And he had a metal detecting store. And they told me about his detecting store once I was come to visit. And so I went into his store and he had a bunch of metal detecting books. And part of those books were, which I think there was a White's book that I bought as well, were Charles Garrett, a lot written by Charles Garrett. So uh, I went to his store and I ended up buying a used Garrett, which because I at the time I couldn't, here I am, a young mom, I've got a
Right. Yeah.
baby, just getting
It's
started
being
in
an
the
expensive
hobby.
hobby.
Yeah. And so I started with a used Garrett metal detector. So from my first silver ring that I found with my little Radio Shack, I ended up getting this Garrett, and I found my second silver ring with my Garrett. And after that, just through reading the books and all of that, I started gaining this information. And so my next purchase was actually a Garrett Sea Hunter Mark II. And that was because by then, not long after that, from living in East Texas, we ended up moving to Galveston, Texas. So
So you had the beach right there.
I had the beach right there. I lived 2 blocks from the beach. So I was like, all right,
Beautiful.
I'm headed to the beach. So back to the story about how I became a Garrett girl. That didn't really start till I started my YouTube channel, and then I started the podcast with all metal mode with Mike Hare back in the day, and that was
Right.
years ago before I'd met Amanda. And then I got contacted by Nocta Macro that were just in the very, very beginning stages of
Like the racer and them.
starting to form a U.S. team, field team. And so I was contacted by them kind of because with the help of Mike had suggested, hey, you ought to look at Gypsy. And then so at the same time, I was in touch with Vaughn Garrett, of,
Right.
the son of, and he had emailed me and said, hey, would you be interested in coming to our next Garrett hunt? I look forward to seeing you there. And the Garrett Memorial Hunt. And I said, actually, I don't know if I could go because I'm looking at, becoming a field team rep for Nocta Macro. And he was like, oh no, let me set up a meeting. Because he already knew that I think when I started my YouTube channel, I was using a Mine Lab and my Garrett, both machines. And so I was kind of flip flopping in between. And then
What's
I
your
think
go-to right now in the dirt? Are you still using AT Pro? Are you using the Apex? What are you using?
I flip flop back and forth. So it depends on where I'm hunting. So I love the Apex with the multi frequency. And I love using it on the beach because it is incredible on the beach. I
Right.
found some amazing finds with it on the beach when I get a chance to go to the beach. And it's just really good on relics as well. But I get a little bit extra depth with the max. So what I'll usually do, it depends on where I'm hunting. So I will maybe start out with the Apex and go over that, and then I'll come back with my AT Max.
Right. Yeah, and the people that I know that have the AT Pro, AT Max, you can't pry it out of their hands. They
It's
don't.
especially that AT Pro, man. And once they get used to the AT Max, especially if they came from using, a lot of people couldn't get used to using the AT Max that came from the AT Pro. And it's just, because they are really different.
My
Uh,
girlfriend is an AT Pro user, and I just got done injecting it with some industrial silicone so it would stop flopping around. It's literally held together with duct tape and glue right now. It's how old it is and how much she uses that thing.
right. And once you get used to it, it's hard to change to another machine.
Sure.
It really is. So anyway, that's basically, I got invited to Garrett home office and had a meeting with the marketing team with Steve Moore, etc. And I met Eleanor, Garrett for the second time. I'd met her and Charles years ago when I very first got started at a metal detecting show at I think it was the Tex in somewhere in East Texas, treasure show. And Charles Garrett was giving a speech, and he'd just come out with his book. I think caches can be found. And I remember, I was mesmerized then. I have that signed book somewhere in here in my
Butch
room.
just popped in the chat, so we got to stop talking about him.
Well,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Well, yeah. I saw Butch is in the chat. He, wanted to say hi. And Butch is just.
You got to watch out for him. He ends up going to a hunt and mistakes rubbing alcohol for his water and
That was
drinks
no
it.
mistake.
No mistake. Exactly.
Probably.
Where do you get that? That was no mistake.
Steve, I got to run down. Apparently, the phone is the other camera is glitching. I have to go check it.
Uh-oh.
So, besides Butch, I know that you're also friends with two of the dearest people I know, Herb and Marla Lee.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They've been out to New Jersey a couple times. They are really two of the nicest people that I have met in this hobby. They're welcome in my state anytime. So that they're down to earth good people.
Really cool thing about I know later we're going to talk about the upcoming hunt with Butch and I, American Digger Magazine. But I have to say, and just like you and Frank, y'all met at a hunt, or at a metal detecting event. I met Marla and Herbie at a metal detecting event in Florida the same time I met you.
At the Central Florida?
Yeah. And actually, I don't know if it was at that hunt. It was at a Florida hunt. Anyway, nevertheless, I met them at this hunt and they were leaving and they said, "Hey, we just wanted to stop in and say hi. We watch your YouTube videos, etc." And they took a photo with me and I just said, "Hey, where y'all from?" And they said, "We're from Graham, Texas." And
Right.
I said, "What? Shut the front door. I've got cousins that live in Graham, Texas." And I go to Graham, at least once, twice a year. And come to find out, I think Marla had worked with my cousin. And I think that at the same time, she went to school with one of my cousins from Graham. And so we just hit it off. And then not long after that, I was headed to Graham for that area for a family reunion. And Marla and Herbie, we ended up hunting together. And man, we've been friends ever since. And I just saw them last weekend.
Yeah, nice people.
Herb says that Stephen Frank left him on the beach alone in New Jersey when he came to this.
He took off, man. He was gone. So how is it? How do I put this? How is it being liked more than Tim and KG? I mean, let's face it. When they're not here, we find humor in talking about them, but
we find humor in talking about them when they're with us on vacation. What are you talking about?
Right. So, I mean, it's, do you ever feel bad because you're drawing more attention than them? Let's face it.
Well, I don't know about drawing more attention, but I will say that, they are well known. They're way more well known than I am because, had this long, this TV show, The Diggers. Yeah. And when I got to meet them at the first time at the Charles Garrett Memorial Hunt, we hit it off. They're just fun and crazy. And that's my kind of people, like you two being on your show, just joking and having fun. That's what's so fun about this hobby. And like we were discussing, the people we meet and we form these bonds with. And, those two goofballs, they're just fun to be around. It's contagious, and that's what
Oh,
I
yeah.
love.
And you know what? The thing that got me, we went on a trip with those guys, and we were for a week, and they're on TV and all this other stuff. But when they got out there with the machines in their hand, Tim took his machine and he didn't stop until it was dark. I mean, he just and he was only digging literally where we were. He was only digging like wheat pennies and stuff, but he never. I mean, he was hours and hours.
I just thought it was so nice of KG because we all were in this big Airbnb together, and here I come to find my wife in KG's room, and he was helping her. She got lost, and he was helping guide her back to the main area. And I thought that was the nicest thing in the world.
We were in this place, and they banished me to the basement. Little did they know there's like an entire apartment down there. And I come home from digging, and my drawer with all my underwear is like all over my room. And KG still denies it, but
we know
looking for souvenirs. Well, I think he was.
Yeah, we know who the culprit
you know them. That first time I think I met them. Okay, so I arrived at the Garrett hunt, and the next thing I know, we're out in the field. Well, they put like Mardi Gras beads on me, and they were hugging me. They didn't even know me, And the next thing I know, we're out in the field, and there were these clods of mud, and the next thing I know, KG and I are throwing clods at each other, and they're walking up behind me playing pranks.
Oh yeah.
They're pulling my detector from behind me.
Did they get your cell phone? Did they?
Oh yeah, plenty of times taking the selfies and weird photos.
I think we are some of the only few that gave them a little bit of their own medicine.
Steve played with Tim's camera.
You know how Tim's always doing is taking pictures of birds, right?
Yep.
Well,
he made the mistake of leaving the camera alone.
Yeah, he left his, and they like to take people's phones and do funny things with the phones.
Oh yeah.
So someone who I'm not going to mention got a hold of his camera and took a picture of their Bear Dairy Air, we'll say. And then we were talking to Tim, and I said, Tim, show our friends some pictures of the birds.
And Tim was like, you guys want to see pictures of my bird? And he starts going through them.
Ryan Thinker. So he starts on his phone. I go, no, Tim, what about the ones on your camera? So he pulls his camera out, and he's looking through the pictures, and all of a sudden his face hit the floor. He's like, oh, my God, you guys got me. So they ain't the biggest pranksters you've ever seen. So
they are. I could tell you some stories. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're great. Okay, so next question. You get into metal detecting, you get into Garrett, okay? Which is really great, a great thing for you. But now all of a sudden, you got shows, TV shows. So tell me how you got into TV and what your first show was. What was the first show you were on?
Well, my YouTube channel, I guess, is what got me noticed from potential prospects for TV shows. And so I still get calls all the time from different things, potential, but sometimes, it may not be, fit exactly. So, I see 3 or 4 years ago, how long has it been? I got contacted by Prometheus, some of the producers for Prometheus, which produces for the History Channel and for Beyond Oak Island. And with that, I was on 3 episodes of Beyond Oak Island, which kind of kickstarted, that
popularity, yeah.
And actually, it might have been, I think before that, before that, I was on Discovery Channel with Freddie Dodge, Gold Mine Rescue. And I actually met him. He was at an event that I was repping Garrett in Las Vegas. And he was there, and he was just getting his show started, and it was really funny story. So I didn't know who he was. I had seen a few episodes of Gold Rush, but he walks up to the Garrett booth, and I'm behind the counter, and everybody's going, "Oh, Freddie, blah 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 blah," and they're taking their photos with him and all that. And I'm like, okay, he must be somebody. I don't know who he is, but oh well. And so everybody's chatting with him. And the next thing I know, there's this gold bar about this big being passed around. And finally, it lands in my hand, and I'm looking at it, and it says Gold Rush on it. I'm like, boy, that's a hefty piece of gold bar. And so I'm like, then I hand it back, and it's passed back around to Freddie, and he puts it in his pocket. And they're just chit-chatting over there, and I'm not getting in their business. I'm over there talking to customers walking by and demonstrating, metal detectors, etc., and meeting people. And then in a little while, Freddie comes over, and he stands right in front of me. And he looks at me, and he says, "I don't believe you and I have met yet." And he reaches across, and he says, "I'm Freddie Dodge." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, Gypsy Jewels," and blah, 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 blah. We make some small talk. Then, and a little bit later, Rusty from Garrett, go walk around to see some of the exhibits. And I think Mind Lab had an exhibit. We went over there. I think Gary Drayton was there. We were over there, just making rounds and talking to people. And when I come back, Steve Moore comes to me, and he says, "Hey, Freddie Dodge that you met a while ago is got a new TV show about to come out. And he's interested. He was asking all kinds of questions, how experienced you are with a metal detector, et cetera, and was wondering if he could talk to you more about possibly being a guest on the show." And I was like, okay. And so Freddie Dodge ended up taking me out to dinner that night, to a steak dinner in Las Vegas, and told me
Nice.
more about this show, and we hit it off. He's a great down to earth guy, and then not long after that, they started filming, and then I was in one of the episodes. So that was the very first start, and then the second was the History Channel, which they hadn't even seen my Discovery thing. So that was totally brought
See,
about.
Steve, all you need is a hat like she's got, and
Yeah.
learn something about metal detecting, and you could be in.
The hat I could probably do. But you have a very large repertoire now between YouTube and television, and just a good name out in the metal detecting community across across countries, not just this one. So things have really turned out really, really well for you, and
it's all. And you know what? You're the personality that people love to see. You got a great personality, and you know the machines, and you know how to swing a coil. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you. Thank you. Never would I have imagined that my passion for metal detecting would turn into what I do now. I never.
All right,
Not a million years.
Steve, you need to kick Matt Kwiatkowski off the page. He just said that Gypsy's got more TV appearances than me. We won't have any of that on this page.
You know what? If it were not true, then we could punish him. Gypsy, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to be discovered. But it appears that the only time I get discovered is when I'm on the beach by the stranded mammal rescue people. They come running in. And do you know how aggravating it is to be detected and people are throwing water on you? Like keep them wet. I'm like,
keep your skin moist.
yeah. I'm like I'm trying to detect here. They're like, don't worry, we're gonna get you out to sea. I'm like, no. They start pulling me out, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh God.
I just can't win. But one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was because at this time,
Butch says he was on Cops a few times.
I just saw that. Yeah, I just thought, yeah, well, Butch you're getting beat up by them isn't really a TV appearance. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So you seem to be working on a lot of things right now, and it's really funny because in pre-show I asked you, oh, what are you working on? You're like, I'm working on a bunch of things, and I'm like, wow, you really are. So let's talk about what you're working on right now and where we may see you next.
Okay, so I'm working on several TV projects. The first one, you might have seen an announcement. I don't know if you know Relic Rally, which he's a part of America Digger magazine. Relic Rally, Riley, sorry.
Relic Riley. I was going to say Relic. I heard of Relic Riley, but
Relic Riley, he finds some amazing Civil War stuff, and he's just he's one of those nerds about Civil War, which I love because I learned from him on the Civil War stuff. And then we've got Brandon Sutton, which Brandon is, I don't know how to put it, that guy, he is like a brother to me. I don't know what it is about him and his personality. He's just got such a big heart, but he's just as nerdy as and is persistent in what he does and passionate about metal detecting and treasure hunting as we all are. And it just exudes from him. And then myself. So we're kind of like the dynamic trio of metal detecting, if you will.
Now, if that's a show, can you tell us the name? What can you tell us about this? When's it coming out?
So that one, the first 2 episodes have been filmed. It's still being edited, and the name of that show is called The Time Travelers. And the name of the show to me, because we all do that every day, when we're out metal detecting, is we do a type of time travel. With every relic, we may dig up something modern and we may dig up something not so old, but still it's from a time and place and time.
It tells a story. Absolutely.
It tells a story. And then when we dig up those old things, that really tells a story, or that we can connect to the property we're detecting or the place or the state. So The Time Travelers is the name of that show.
And where will we be able to see that show?
That one will be on several streaming things. Like, so if you have a Fire Stick or you have a
Roku. All right.
Roku, a lot of your free services, which I like free. I don't know about y'all. I hate paying cable.
I'm a big fan of free.
I hate paying cable. So it'll be like on True TV Plus, Tubi, which Tubi is free. Of course, you do have to watch the commercials, but hey,
I'll be right back.
It's free. It's free. That's the best part. So those will be some of the platforms that will be streaming from. And we will be working on getting it on Netflix as well. So
wow. Good.
That is one project that I'm working on. Another project that I'm working on that it's called Treasures of the Caribbean. And I just got back from a trip. So I just got back from a trip from the Caribbean, actually, from Roatan Island. And that was a once in a lifetime. I really had an amazing time. I was only gone for a week for filming. And that's just the beginning stages. That one is going to be a long project. So
that must have sucked. And the sun must have been horrible. The water must have been just crazily horrible. How did you rough it? I mean, that must have been like,
man, the Airbnb that I stayed in was so cool. I can't even tell you. So there's a lot of Mayan stuff there on the islands. And so when you walked up to the door where we were staying, it was this thick wooden door with this Mayan carving on it. It was just
where the Treasure of the Caribbean, who else is anyone else in that with you?
So that
Brad Pitt,
has a
Ben
lot of
Affleck.
unknown people. It is a reality TV show.
Okay.
See, Steve, there's hope for you.
Oh, so is it like Survivor? Is you like Survivor Island? Is that
Well, there is the one island we went to. I mean, I felt like I was on a deserted island. We were the only people on this island, and you would not believe. I actually have a YouTube video, so I did while we had some downtime. Um, I did a short little video while I was on that island of some of the trash that just floated in.
Oh god.
And you will not believe. It reminded me of Survivor with all the stuff that you could survive with from,
Oh, really?
you know,
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
you know. So, and then you could probably build a boat out of all that stuff. So,
Gypsy, I apologize for jumping up. I've got allergies so bad I can't
oh,
even see. My eyes are burning.
no,
And of course,
no
Don
worries.
West's making comments about my tissue. So
I told you about Franco when you walked away. Now you see it's true.
I can't even see they're burning so bad.
Okay, what else are we working on? You got a lot in the fire. You got a lot of irons in the fire.
I do, and I'm also working on a paranormal. It's where paranormal meets treasure
No.
hunting. Yeah, there we go.
His
Terry
favorite topic. His
Here
favorite
goes
topic.
Frank.
That and electrolysis. He just loves to talk.
So I'm working with a paranormal team. This one is called, gosh, my brain's not working right now.
It's a strange name for a show. Oh,
Right? Ah, shoot. What's my?
it's going to come to you, but I'm sure you're going to
It's
notify
something
me.
detect. I know that. Gosh,
All right,
ghost
real quick,
detectors. Okay,
what is it? Ghost detectors?
it's called ghost detectors. Yes.
So real quick, I want to tell you why not. See, Frank believes in ghosts. And
Uh-huh.
Frank was telling me this story forever and ever. I got this recording of a haunting.
Gypsy, I gave him a tape of stuff that I had recorded, and he instantly called it fake.
You still
And you
don't
can't
believe
hear.
it?
It's
Well-
like Bigfoot. He gives you this tape, and you can't hear
Don't
nothing.
say Bigfoot to a friend of Terry Carter. I'm just telling you that right now.
Right. Well, let me say this. I was raised very religious, so I didn't grow up believing in anything paranormal, nothing. And it wasn't till I was actually pregnant with my first son that I had my very first paranormal experience. We'll save that for another time. But after that, I was a believer. So
Well, here's my theory, okay? And this is, wait till you hear this. It really
it's always
is
good
true.
to hear theories.
So this is why I don't believe in ghosts, okay?
Uh-huh.
Like when I was a kid, I kind of did. But here's the deal. When my mom was alive and I was taking care of her, she had dementia, and it was a tough time in my life. It was a very hard thing to do. But my mom threatened to come back and haunt me. My mom wanted to take me with her, and my mom was a very like she would do it just to make fun. She would do it just so she could have a laugh. So,
Oh gosh.
And now my mom passed away in this house. She passed away up on her couch. She passed away in her sleep with a big smile on her face just when dinner was on the table. I'm getting ready to eat. And I go upstairs, Ma, come down. It's time for dinner. And there she is, dead.
Oh my gosh.
And
How old were you?
Pardon me?
How old were you? What, are you younger or?
Yeah, it was 2012. It wasn't long
Okay.
ago. I had the whole family here. The whole family's going to sit down at dinner. And part of me said, go back down and eat and then tell everyone. But no, I didn't do that.
That almost interrupted your dinner, right, Steve?
So the thing is, here's the thing. If my mom could have, and it's been 12 years, if there's any way a ghost could come back and haunt, my mother would be here haunting me. And it wouldn't scare me. Okay. And it wouldn't scare me but she'd try. She would try. She would clang the chain. She would do whatever she could to scare me. And I have yet to have an encounter.
Gypsy,
Well,
I'm a cop, 20 years. I don't believe I'd be the first person to laugh at you. And the noises can be argued away if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
right.
That's the only thing that made a convert out of me.
Well, your so-called recording didn't convince me. It was all static. Frank's
No,
going, there's the
no, I
ghost. You hear? You hear it?
You
There's the
stopped
ghost.
talking through it. You talked the
Uh,
whole time I was trying to play
What you ought to do, I mean, is set up a camera when you. I
yeah.
noticed.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Let's put it this way.
Me, my mother,
The house is an old house that I used to own, and we were literally on the list for ghost hunters when the show got canceled and the house got
Oh,
sold and knocked down.
oh no!
I actually went, an elderly woman who hit the lottery and built a house on the site of the old home. And I actually tried to figure out how to ask her. I didn't want to say, yo, do you have ghosts in your house? But she's very happy there. So I'm assuming that nothing weird has happened since she moved there.
There you have. Now that's great. Now I wish you a lot of luck with that show. I wish
Absolutely.
you a lot of luck with. I wish you a lot of luck with the other shows because
Thank you.
I like seeing your endeavors. I like, we are friends on Facebook. I see that. I don't really get to catch your Monday night show because we do Monday nights as well. So, but I'm sure it's awesome. And I before we get into the big topic, well, actually, we will. You are having a dig in Pittsburgh, Texas, 11/1 through 11/3. Is it called your birthday bash or?
So yeah, the way I had a hunt last year called Gypsy Jewels Birthday Bash, and this
Right.
year I was going to have my second annual. And what happened is I invited American Digger magazine, to come set up a booth, etc., or and be a possible sponsor, etc. And
Were you drunk at the time when you came up with it?
Well, Butch said something about it being your 20th birthday and their 20th birthday, and
yeah, there you go. I like 20.
I think
And so what happened is I invited them, and they said, a one-day hunt really doesn't work well for us. We don't usually have as good of, whatever. It's not really worth our while to come that distance. So what about adding another day? And I've been wanting to do a hunt, and I said, come on, let's do it. And so Butch and I and Anita and Debbie, we've all kind of got together and started planning this, and it's really shaping up to be an amazing hunt.
To me, it sounds more like bash and trash. You being the bash. So now,
yeah,
Butch,
we got to give Butch a hard time.
I love Butch Holcomb, and again, there's another one that we were at the Florida hunt. And I don't know, there seems to be a picture going around the internet. I don't know where it came from, but someone took a photo of me and put it in Butch's booth. He always sets up the booth, American Digger.
Yeah.
Well, again, someone faked. It's a picture's fake. I was placed in this picture, and it appears that I'm showing my derriere in his booth.
My AI skills aren't that good, so.
So it was so funny because I sent it to him because I wanted him to see what was going around the internet that I had nothing to do with. Someone put me in his. And
Gypsy, I have been asked to put a bug in your ear.
Okay.
Because you guys are your Civil War hunters and relic hunters, and so next May, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2025, we are for Soldiers Freedom Outdoor. We are putting on an event in Mississippi on a piece of ground that was 70, 80 years of scouting, 1,000 years of Native American activity, and right on basically Civil War battle took place there. And we
Herman Marlowe probably
Gary, we want KG and Ringy. Well, we went KG, but just putting it in your ear. We'd love to have Garrett come out for this. It's going to be a tremendous event. But that's not till next year. Don't worry.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated in that, and it'd be really great if you could go because I think, like we said,
that would be epic.
Yeah, the territory is virgin land where and they think there's a lot's going to come out about this.
From the time that they were metal detectors around. This has been a scouting camp, which pretty much limits who has ever been on that with a metal detector.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Real quick, we're going to finish up here. give me what you got. Where can we find you? I know Zero Discrimination. We can find you on Facebook under Gypsy Jewels. YouTube, we find you. And do you have a page where we can get Gypsy swag? And give us all your promotions.
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
All right. So you can find just about all the info on my website, which is gypsydigs.com. That's just gypsydigs.com. And if you forget the name of the website, you can just Google Gypsy Jewels and it'll bring up, my YouTube channel, Zero Discrimination, and it'll bring up all the info. And it'll connect you to my website as well. But if you wanted Gypsy Jewels, Zero Discrimination swag or anything like that, you can find that on my website. I'm also a representative of Brian Harvey from the Digger's Den. So if you're needing any type of metal detecting gear, it doesn't have to be Garrett. We carry all brands as well. And then, so I have a promo code for that. And that's available on my website as well as a link. And then also now with the Garrett Direct, I've got a promo code for that. So you can reach out to me on any of those platforms and I will get back
Your
to you when I can or when I notice it. So if I
your
don't get
your,
back to you right away, message me again.
your promo code is not Bozo because that's the one Frank uses for all the stuff he sells.
I found out it was already taken.
So you didn't use it.
I
You
got
so
that
close to-
copyrighted. You can't touch
so
that.
close to using it.
Right? Oh.
Well, we'd like to extend our gratitude for you being on our show. And please, whenever you have something you want to advertise, please feel free. Whatever you want to advertise your page, even your show, whatever you want to advertise. Throw it on Detect America. We love to promote you in any way. We are here for you if you need anything. If you ever come to New Jersey, let me know because we have connections all through the state to help you, guide you, or anything you need when you land in Jersey.
Gypsy, real quick, because we forgot. Where do we get your book? How's your book doing, and how do we get a hold of it?
I actually finally got some copies in today, so you can go to Amazon, and you can type in Gypsy Jewels or Just Digging It is the name of the title, and get a copy of my book. So Amazon, or you can go to Garrett Direct, and then Garrett Direct under their books, and you can get an autographed copy there. And if you go to Butch's America Digger magazine.com, if you go to their website, you can get an autographed copy there as well.
Yeah, but I want your autograph, not Butch's.
You even got a promo in there for Butch.
Yeah,
you promo in there for this guy.
Butch supports me, so I got to support him. Got to spread the love.
One of the greatest guys. It's
Yeah.
hard for me. Like we had Butch on, and like tonight when we have a guest on, I like to do this, focus right on our guest and their information. But like when we have Butch or Tim and KG, it turns into a laugh session.
Right.
Just like Butch was on. What was I saying? I called him Boss Hog. I think we told Hogan's great grandpa with that with
his overalls.
Yeah. So it's just too easy to laugh with those guys. But is there anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
That's about it. So if they go to my website and they want to sign up, go to my events link on my website. Just click on events and it'll take you straight to where to purchase tickets. And one quick thing I just wanted to show you before we hop off. This is one of the caches that I'll be planting at my hunt. I'm planting a bunch of caches with all kinds of goodies in there. So it's got everything from silver to jewelry to there's a pocket knife, all kinds of coins, relics. There's silverware relic. just you name it. There's even $100 bill in here as well. So there'll be cash prizes as
Nice.
well.
A real one, Frank. A real one. She gives away real ones. Real ones, not that fake stuff.
Not
A
the
lot of
counterfeit.
people want those ones with my face on them. What can I
Give
tell
you
you?
a fake one? Well,
There you
Gypsy,
go.
again, a big thank you.
Well, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
I can
Yeah, I love
honestly say
having you on,
I look forward to bumping into you ever again. Again, you need anything from Detect America, reach out. We're here for you. We'll answer your phone call before we will from Butch. So,
All
you
right.
know.
Well, thank y'all so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and y'all are so fun to hang out with.
There you
Thanks,
go,
Gypsy.
folks.
We love having you on.
Gypsy Jewel, say good night.
Good night, all.
Well, Frank, I got to tell you, class act right there, buddy.
Yeah, it's only 4 years trying to get our dates synced up.
She is a class act, one of the nicest young ladies to meet, and we can see, you know, what I've learned from tonight is she's very enthralled with the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
The real deal. She's not.
She's into it.
She actually swings a metal detector. You know, she straightforward and enjoys the hobby and is you know really into it. And it, you know what, it sounds like she worked for what she's earned.
Absolutely, she's put her time in. She's paid the dues and put the time in.
Yeah, because you know it couldn't have come, and she works hard. Couldn't have come easy to her. Works hard. She's out there, you know, getting involved and doing it. So that, I think that's great. You know.
Absolutely.
And I saw a lot of the things these people were writing about me. And again, we're gonna visit that. We're gonna revisit that. So I want to personally say thank you to Mike Burns, because
Mike, I appreciate it. Mike we were originally scheduled to have Mike Burns on. They got a great hunt coming up, the Steve's gone. The Lehigh Valley hunt. And Gypsy was on our list to come on. She could only do it tonight, and Mike Burns was gracious enough to step back for a week. I appreciate it, Mike. Mike will be on next week. We'll be talking about the Lehigh Valley Club hunt. And again, thank you. Let's see if Steve comes back. I hear he is. Would you kick your wire out or something?
Yeah, I touched the wire and stuff happens. Even the wrong camera right now.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate it. Me and Mike, I talked to him on the phone. We were laughing, we were joking. Great guy. So I do apologize. It's so nice of him to do that, and we were able to get Gypsy on only this week, so we had to take that. Also, I believe we're going to be getting Mr. John Monero on the show.
John Monero, who is stumbling on some great stuff recently. He's got the stealth digger, the stealth pouches that he's making.
Well, I've been using it, and I love it.
I'm a fan of the beach one. I've been using the beach one.
Yeah, that's what I've been using, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I got both of them, but I've been Celeste is using the open top, and I've been using the beach pouch.
Yeah, and I just love it. So, all right. So, again, thanks, Mike. We'll have him on. We'll be talking about the Lehigh Valley hunt coming up, which I will be going to, and we'll be talking about John Monero's pouch again.
I got 0 giveaways planned tonight. I didn't. I've been running around like a nut all day. I will make it up to you next week because I'm still getting prizes out.
So
from my week of being sick.
Again, I'm going to throw this out there. If anybody watching wants to come on our show and be a guest,
you got something you want to talk about? You got a group? You got something you've done? A project you're on? Let us know. We want to bring the diggers into the show this year.
Yeah, you got just let us know. We will entertain all entries, and we'll see what we can do. I think it'll be great. So, with that, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, well, hang loose. I got to talk to you afterwards.
Oh, Jesus. I don't want to hear this. You're not giving me a raise.
It's good.
Go turn off Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I got to turn off Facebook. I wish I could put it.
Just what we want. He don't turn off Facebook, and we.
All right, Facebook's off. And Steve's gone. All right, guys. Steve's messing with me. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you. Wait, he's back because he can't stop touching his cable.
I got totally booted. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, but.
All right, we're good to go.
All right, guys.
We'll see you next week with Mike.
Good night, everyone.